Hi guys, this is Tanner with Tier 1. Today we're going to be building our Stage 2 68 RFE, and I'm going to go over the differences between stock and what we do to make our Stage 2 for you guys. We're going to start off with our welded planetaries. We're going to step up to a 4 count on our 2C and a 4 count on our 4C for extra holding capacity. We're also going to back the 2Cs with a billet piston. We're going to be using a 601 RevMax Pro drum in the stock outer to up our clutch count in our overdrives from 12 to 16. We're also going to be upgrading our 4C return spring to a billet top, and then we step up our input shaft to a billet TCS unit. Also with the valve body, when we go to our Stage 2, we upgrade the valve body channel plate to a billet unit instead of the stock one. So with our 2C piston, we use a billet unit for this transmission, but when they come out straight from the manufacturer, they are much thicker than the stock piston. So we need to machine this down to fit our larger count of 2C clutches and steels. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Just do an initial zero pass to make sure everything's true and straight. Sometimes these pistons or the steels or anything that you need to cut has a slight either bow or angle to them. As you can kind of see, as it's going around, it's not a perfect cut. There are patches where it's not touching and there are patches where it is. So it's trying to get at least a smoother zero surface to start with. Okay, cool. Now that we have cut the piston to our desired height, we're gonna deburr the edges real quick and then install it in the center support. I've already pre-assembled the 4C with the piston in and having the billet retainer already on top of the return spring. And then we're going to go ahead and throw our 2C piston in and start assembling the transmission. Snap ring on. We're going to go over to the press and press the snap ring in. All it takes is a little pressure. You don't have to rip on it too hard and the snap ring will fall into place. Perfect. I already went and pre-assembled our low reverse drum and sprag, as they're the same through all of our transmissions, and we've covered it in a couple other videos. There's nothing that changes with this. It is a stock clutch count with a stock sprag in the rear. We found the roller ones like to shoot a bunch of pieces through the rear of the transmission if they fail, so we've gone back to using stock units. Yeah, this is the 4 count 4Cs that we upgrade for the Stage 2. Put the top plate on. Sometimes we have to cut this top plate because with upgrading the 4Cs, we don't know what the tolerance is going to be until we do it, but yeah, it obviously fills up more space than 3 clutches, even though we use thinner steels to compensate, but it usually comes out tight. Probably 1 out of every 5 or 6 of them do I slap together and everything just measures out. Every other transmission needs some sort of machining or some sort of custom part or some sort of fix to get it to come out to the proper tolerances so it doesn't bind up or it doesn't, become too loose that you push a piston out of its snap ring or, hyperextend it. There's a lot that goes into this. Overall, once you do it a few times, it's not overly complicated, but you have to have a lot of this stuff to get it right. The even more frustrating part about this is you'll take a measurement, you'll come out here, you'll cut specifically what you need to get the correct measurement, and you'll go put it back in the trans and it still doesn't measure out. So sometimes you have to do this 2, maybe 3 times to get what you need. Yep. Cool, we're exactly where we need to be. And now our center support is assembled. Cool. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and start assembling our overdrive, underdrive drum assembly. And we're gonna do 10 overdrives in the underdrive because the RevMax moves the snap ring location further down into the drum. And overdrives are a thinner overall clutch. So we're gonna do 10 overdrives in the underdrive section, and we're gonna do 16 overdrives in the overdrive section.
What's your plan for reassembling this?
Boom, first try. Don't try this at home, kids. Although probably most of you will.
Once at least.
Yeah. You know what? If you try it at home, I hope it goes well for you. Really do. Sometimes, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, and we're out of tolerance. Even though everything came pre-cut and pre-machined and pre-done, we're gonna have to do some more. Yeah, it's rare that you get through a whole transmission where everything just spec'd out like it's supposed to. It almost never does. Voila. Woo, woo. It didn't math, but it gave us just enough. These little holes like to get stress cracks in them. If you shock load the drivetrain too much, they'll start to get little cracks that come off of them, and sooner or later this whole hub will just snap. So you always want to make sure that you have no stress cracks or anything that are starting to develop off of these holes before you put it back in, because then you get premature wear and a hard parts failure. So this customer did opt for our standard stage 2, but we do offer the billet overdrive hub, excuse me, as an option with this trans, as it's the next point of failure that we normally see. We call it our 2+, if that's what you decide you want to do. I'm really debating whether or not to put this one on. It's a 35, and that's what it came with. In my experience, 35s are usually really thick, and you don't have a ton of end play. But it's not always the case. Sometimes it makes me a liar. Just regular telenovelas over here. Cool, there's our whole underdrive, overdrive assembly, all done up. All you yell at me that I don't lube this thing, it just gets lubed off a camera. Look at here, lube. Look at all that lube. Doesn't matter how much lube there is if I can't find the hole. There it is. I'm sure most builders know this, but most people don't. And here's another reason why building your stuff at home, if you're going for a certain power level, is extremely difficult. Because the odds are that you got this planetary with a short hub in your transmission. To do our stage 3, where we use 5 2Cs, you need the tall version. Most later 68 RFEs after 2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, have the short hub. The tall hubs came in most of the early 68s and 3rd gens, but still not all of them have them. So if you're trying to do a big build and you only got 1 core, 1 trans, you might not have the right hub to get a full count of 5 Cs, or 5 2Cs, excuse me, in your transmission, because they will not fit on this short hub. They will come off, and you'll hear what sounds like a blower noise coming from your transmission. But seeing as we're doing a stage 2, we don't need a tall hub. There's no strength difference in either of them. It's just the height of the hub. Hopefully we cut this right and it comes out correct. Because sometimes you cut it the exact same and you get different tolerances. Because again, all these transmissions are all slightly different. But for the most part, if you know how much to cut, most of the time it will come out just right. If anyone out there is listening, I will give you $0 off a transmission if you bring me a Gatorade upon pickup. It's the satisfaction of knowing that I'll do it right. You ever heard of like, don't talk about anyone who handles your food?
Yeah.
Same deal. We always check 2C clearance with a feeler gauge. Oh man, we're right there. Now that we got the center support locked in, we can spin the transmission over and we can check the end play on our output shaft. These ones, as far as I know, don't have any markings to tell you what kind of size they are. You just have to measure them. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Perfect. A regular Picasso. I don't draw the Sistine Chapel, but I make sure you don't leak. So at this point, we'll install the overdrive and underdrive hub and get it into the case, and then start working on our pump. We always check the clearance on our pump gears to make sure that they are far enough in the house so that they do not interact with the separator plate. If they are out of tolerance, I will go ahead and sand the pump gears so that they fit into the housing correctly. Perfect. Great. You never want anything to start spinning or start out dry in the case, so you're going to add a little bit of transmission fluid to the gear set so that it has a little bit of lube on first startup. I already had a 19 plus pump up here, but I have a pile of pumps. Wasn't sure if this one was one that needed reamed or not, so I already put the TCC limit in there and vacuum checked it to make sure that this is a good pump, because that's usually what goes bad on these pumps. And she vacuum checked good, so I'm going to go ahead and build the rest of the pump out. We're going to reinstall all of the plungers and valves into the correct slots in the pump, and then we are going to go ahead and vacuum check the pump to make sure that everything seals up correctly in the stroke or de-stroke position. That's a good pump. This is where we're going to measure end play on our input shaft and find out that we don't have enough because I left that number 35 selective in there. Now watch me eat my words. Because I said it's not going to work, so now it's going to work because it's going to me off. One way, it's me off either way. It doesn't matter. I've lost.
Yeah, get back.
Yeah, nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. More precision from Cole over there. He's a little hopped up on sugar, don't mind him. Yeah, I like that. We replace all the seals on the pump cover so that you guys don't have any leaks on installation. They're press fit in. We make sure that they're Loctited so that they don't come out, and we lube them up for you so that they don't go in dry. We're gonna go ahead and flip over the transmission and make sure that everything pressure checks. You wanna make sure that all your pistons and clutch packs engage and then return to their resting position so that you know everything is operating correctly before you throw your valve body and filters and pan on. Perfect. Obviously with the new trans, we're gonna throw in new filters and we're gonna toss in our valve body for this stage 2 build. This is one of our billet units. For this video, we did a separate video on the valve body build that will be coming soon. We're gonna go ahead and toss in our pan gasket and pan. We like to use PPE pans because you get a larger fluid capacity, and you can actually throw in the PPE filter in the casing, which has a larger filter and has more filter media. Bigger filter, more filter media, it gives you a little bit more life of the filter, or if you do have something go through the filter, you have more filter media that will not get clogged up as fast. Thank you for watching this stage 2 build, everybody. If you want to see more content, you can go through our catalog on our YouTube or our Instagram. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.